Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Beantown Banter podcast.
Hunter on the move, racing back, it's over his head, it's gone, it's into the bullpen, this game is tied, Rebound loose on the top of the crease, Red Sox score! Bergeron! Driving forward, diving to the goal line! A touchdown! And a title! Anything's possible! Anything's possible!
Recording live from Boston, Massachusetts, here are your hosts, Brady Gardner and Patrick Donnelly. And welcome to episode 27 of the Beantown Banter podcast. As always, joined by Patrick Donnelly, I'm Brady Gardner. Patrick, how we doing?
We're a little under the weather, but we're toughing it out.
That's good to hear. I always have to be dedicated to the podcast, Patrick. We don't skip days.
And we couldn't really afford to miss classes today, so.
No days off. Okay, well, speaking of the Patriots, see that I didn't even mean to do that segue. That was pretty cool. Big news out of Foxborough within the last 24 hours, if you could call it breaking news. It is. So, Rob Gronkowski has announced his retirement. Your immediate reaction, Patrick?
It's not that shocking, but it's still sad.
That's right. I couldn't have said it better. You saw it coming, but it still hurts.
Because, I mean, at this point, I thought we were going to make it to next year and have my take stand wonderfully.
Yeah.
But you can't fault him for right now, especially since last year you could tell that the injuries were finally starting to take a toll and look permanent. Mm-hmm. He clearly wasn't the same, but it's still sad.
Definitely is still sad. And yeah, you had it exactly right. You could tell that he was kind of a different player. People said this is not Gronk anymore, this is Rob Gronkowski, and maybe you're going to get, a nice catch out of him every once in a while, but he's not the same guy that's going to throw around four defensive backs and, waltz his way to the end zone. So, looking from his perspective, it makes all the sense in the world. You go out on top here, you're not totally, messed up in terms of your health, and you got opportunities available to you, outside of football. So, walk away now. You have your 3 rings. You're good to go. But as a Patriots fan, it sucks.
Speaking of catches, how about his last catch going down is that magnificent one?
Well, there you go. So, it's all perfect. You go out winning a ring. You go out with that catch, diving on the 25, whatever it was, yard reception to set up a Sony Michel touchdown run the very next play, I think.
However.
Just all makes sense.
However. Although Gronk announced his retirement, his agent said people change their minds.
I know. Why? Why do you have to do this to us? He just wants to play with us.
He said this is literally just my... I'm reading the quotes.
No, I know.
He's saying it's just my opinion. This is not Rob's words.
Okay.
Or these are not Rob's words.
But why does the agent have to say it? Why couldn't we just, think that for ourselves? The fact that the agent says it makes it seem like, it's that much more of a possibility.
So he says... So let's say, hypothetically, Tom Brady gave him a call and said, Rob, I need you. I wouldn't be shocked if he came back to play a few games.
Great. So that's what we're going to do? Now we're going to say, we'll see how the offense does, and if it's not great, we're going to call Rob. No, you can't do that. You got to move on.
I can totally see it happening, though, but I don't think it will.
Sure, you could see it happening. If he says, you know what, I miss it, I want one more championship run, sure, Tom will come on in week 12, and let's see what we can do. But, I don't know. Especially to, stay in top physical condition to continue to be the player that he has been, I feel like that's just, such a commitment in itself. Who knows? Maybe he's like Dwayne Johnson and goes from the sports world, if you can count WWE, into acting, and he has to stay in great shape. And so maybe, you can jump right back into sports. No problem. You just got to remember the plays. But I wouldn't bank on it, really.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah. So.
But what do we think this means for Marty Bennett?
Well, I don't know. So,
do we think he comes back and then is your tight end?
Did I make this up, or was there a report where it said he had no interest in coming back?
I don't remember seeing that, but it wouldn't shock me if it was.
I feel like someone said that, and I was like, man. But I don't know. I mean, yes, I'd love to see him come back, but also we have only ever seen him with the Patriots when he was that second tight end who was always getting the second best linebacker or second best safety. Now he's going to be the number 1 tight end. Can he handle it after being out of the game for 2 years, whatever? Yeah,
except when he took over as the number 1 tight end and was your number 1 tight end in Super Bowl 51.
He was?
Yeah. Gronk didn't play in Super Bowl 51.
Well, Dwayne Allen was here, so that's a big difference.
Whatever.
I'm kidding. But, okay.
No, Dwayne Allen.
I forgot about
Dwayne Allen's first year as a Patriot was last year.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, you go from having Dwayne Allen, Rob Gronkowski to having 0 tight ends. Well, Jake Hollister, whoop-de-doo. So, and Matt Lacoste. Who was that? 1 letter away from lacrosse.
Yep.
That's all we know. I don't know. Yeah, I'd hope to see Marty come back. That's my my long way of saying yes, I would like to see him come back, but I don't know how much you could expect.
So what do you think it does? Say, with or without Marty coming back, do you think they draft tight end in the first round now?
You have like 3 different positions you could draft in the first round. I still want to see. I mean, who's that guy?
Wide receiver, quarterback, or tight end. You got to do one of those in the first round.
Not going to be a quarterback because you're focused on the short term. I think you are, at least. If you're trying to expand this window, we'll get to that in a second because I have a hot take. I still want to see a wide receiver just because it feels like that's kind of where you're going to fall apart next. You know, Hogan probably going to be out soon. Edelman, you don't know how many more years he can take. I don't know. I think you need a wide receiver, and you need to develop one, and you need a talented one so he'll actually stick around because it seems like every wide receiver you draft doesn't pan out. But at the same time, I'd kind of like to see a tight end now because it feels like your tight end situation is terrible because you just lost Gronk. Who's the DK Metcalf? That's the guy's name. Looks like a tight end, plays like a wide receiver. Get that man.
No, he's going to the Bills at like 10.
Okay, trade with the Bills. Get that man.
So, do you package later picks and try and move up higher?
I don't know.
First to try and get Hawkinson
Probably
from
not.
Iowa?
The Patriots are always so good at making the most of late picks. So no, I don't think they would be willing to try to move up to get a talented player that any team could make something out of when they could get more players for less. That makes sense.
Half of which don't pan out though.
Okay, so like you're playing the odds there, I guess. It's a tricky situation, but I did have a thought on the how the team is being built right now.
What is your thought?
I wrote an article about this for WTBU Sports. You may have already seen it there.
Quick plug.
Go
check it out. SportsWTBU.com.
This is a WTBU Sports podcast, okay? Anyway, Patriots seem to be moving in more of a run-focused, defensive-minded way. And people are like, oh, that's terrible. You can't treat Tom like any other aging quarterback. He's not Peyton Manning. He's still an elite QB, and he's fine. He can handle the offense. You don't need to do that. You don't need Tom to continue to carry the offense on his back because he's not going to be able to forever. He's going to be moving on in, let's say, 2-3 years because he always said 45. He's going to be 42 in a couple months, so you don't have him forever. So you need a young quarterback you need to step down from Tom Brady. Maybe it's like Blake Bortles coming in. Who knows? But it's going to be, a downgrade from Tom Brady. So there are going to be growing pains there because you can't expect them to come in and be the GOAT 2.0. So you're going to need to find other ways to win, which means you're going to need to run the ball. You're going to need to play good defense. And so they're just getting a head start on that. They're saying, you know what, Tom, it's great to have you here, and you can still help with that passing game, but we're going to start moving in a run and defensive-minded way so that we can continue to succeed when you're not here. And I think that's the perfect way to do it. And so I give a lot of credit to Bill Belichick for the way he's running things, despite how everybody else seems to be slandering the way he has done it.
But
okay,
to that point, you still need a competent receiver core. We saw those Broncos teams with Peyton Manning had Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas before Demaryius Thomas just decided to fall off the face of the earth.
Yeah. Okay. Well, did Peyton Manning even get much out of them? Anyway, it's true.
You got a lot out of Demaryius Thomas.
That's true.
And then Emmanuel Sanders burst on the scene that one year.
I don't know. It feels like Tom has always been able to make a lot out of nothing. So, like, Philip Dorsett, sure, you can keep throwing to him. Braxton Berrios, maybe he becomes something. Julian Edelman's probably going to be around as long as Tom is. But it just feels like your passing game is not going to be the same when you have to move on to somebody else. So you might as well make sure you have other things that can make up for it.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I just don't see. Because, all right, you need other options aside from just the running back. Say, like, you need a dangerous deep threat or someone to, like, draw attention elsewhere. Like, that was the beauty of Gronk and Edelman and Gordon and Michelle. Like,
that's
all right,
true.
Who's covering who here, guys? Because, say, like, if you're other defenses now, all you have to worry about is Sony Michel or Julian Edelman, and maybe Philip Dorsett.
Huh. That is true.
Like,
so
Philip Dorsett specifically in the red zone, and that's it.
Interesting. So people will start focusing on the run, and that'll negate that.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
Because he still needs options here. Because it's not like he totally regressed last year. Sure, he wasn't who we're used to seeing.
This is Tom?
But
Okay.
But Tom Brady is still very much a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
All right, so let's say this takes you back to the draft here. So you get a good young wide receiver who's going to be able to jump right in with your top offense.
You hope.
So Tom has a good wide receiver and a guy that's probably going to be around for the future. I think that's exactly what you want. You want a guy that can play with Tom, who can be like impact player from the day he comes in, but will also be around to help out whatever that younger, inexperienced quarterback is that's going to be coming in place of Tom.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay, so there's like a compromise there. You see what we just see that?
Or whether or not it's a tight end.
I don't know. I feel like they would sooner figure out the tight end situation internally. Hollister, make that Lacoste guy into something. James Devlin probably going to get more snaps at tight end.
Unless you kind of just, I don't even know. I don't even know what the rest of the free agent class, who's still available this year.
Yeah.
That's probably bad on my part. But I know next year, I believe, is Jared Cook's available next year, I believe.
He was just signed this year. Is it a 1-year deal?
Oh, I'm probably completely wrong then.
Yeah.
I'm misremembering things now.
Because they said that what did they say? That the wheels were turning on Jared Cook or something with the Patriots, and then didn't end up happening. Forget where he signed. Oh, New Orleans. He signed in New Orleans because the Saints love their good tight ends.
That is correct.
Boom.
That's a big mistake on my part, folks.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's just misremembering stuff I haven't looked at in a couple months, but you know what?
Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, that's definitely more questions than answers with the Patriots right now. But you hope that the machine just keeps on going. The formula just keeps on winning. But it does feel like the formula is changing a little bit, and this Gronk departure makes it seem even more so. So, any final thoughts on the Patriots? Obviously, a bit of a, just a couple big notes on the Patriots this week, but that's what the offseason is sometimes, just, fireworks here and there. Anything you got?
I just hope the offense looks half as competent, or more competent than it does now, at least.
Well, yeah. I mean, so do you mean on the way that they played in 2018,
no,
or on the way that they feel like they're going to be?
On the way that they feel that they're going to be in the roster complexion of it.
Okay.
I have no confidence in it right now.
I don't know. I think you wait until after the draft, you wait until training camp, and then you can assess.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, maybe Braxton Berrios jumps out. Maybe Chris Hogan re-signs, and he's going to take a bigger role. You never know.
This is very much just a surface level
for sure
look right now.
Correct. But that's what it is in the offseason. But a team that's not in the offseason, the Boston Bruins, who have clinched their Stanley Cup playoffs berth with a recent win over, what was it, Florida game?
Florida.
Yeah, okay, Florida game. And they're running off 4 wins in a row now. We had the win on Saturday the 16th over Columbus that we already reflected on, but then on Tuesday they beat the New York Islanders by a 5-0 thumping, and then they took on the Devils with a 5-1 win on Thursday before finishing off a 7-3 victory over the Florida Panthers on Saturday. That's 17 goals for this last week and 4 goals against. Your Bruins are rolling.
They are rolling.
Once again.
Yeah. I mean, that win against the Islanders was hilarious because it was just looking at the Metropolitan being like, this is your king.
Yeah.
I think Ty Anderson had the original tweet. But as far as things are going here, Toronto has kind of fallen off there. We already see kind of Leafs Twitter being like, congrats on the first round series victory, Boston.
Oh my gosh.
If Toronto's 4-4-2 in their last 10, the Bruins are 7-3-0. And as far as you're concerned with the Bruins, they're getting healthy at the right time. Looks like Marcus Johansson's going to be a game time decision tonight. Maybe he's definitely going to be back on Thursday, I believe, is when they play next after today.
That's good. Got to keep him around though.
Yeah, he should be fine.
Okay.
Should be.
Hope so.
I mean, a lung contusion. How often does that happen?
I don't know. It feels like something that you could re-injure with another hard hit, though.
I'm sure if he needed to play through it, he would have.
Really?
I'm sure.
Sheesh.
I mean, Patrice Bergeron in 2013.
Okay, Patrice Bergeron is the second coming, so calm down.
Okay.
So you talk about health, though. Sean Corrali out for a month. With
That's a big hit.
Broken right hand. So, yeah, that's a big hit there.
That's an underrated hit.
Not overrated. That's a rated hit right there. I think people know the importance of Sean Corrali to this team.
Yeah, but we saw how well they played against Florida.
That's one game.
But Florida's no slouch in their own right, even though they're going to miss the playoffs. They're still a highly offensive team.
Yeah.
They just can't play defense or get a save.
Well, yeah, and they know that they're not going to make the playoffs, so I think they're kind of packing it in at this point of the year.
Or they're just playing. Some teams play their best hockey when they're eliminated from the playoffs. They just start playing loose and free.
Interesting. Either way, it was impressive for the Bruins to put up 7 goals in Corrali's absence.
Carson Kuhlman impressed me.
Woo! Carson Kuhlman. Steal, dribble through 2 guys, stick handle through 2 guys, and then snipe it. And Zdeno Chara had a snipe. 200th goal of his career. Also signed an extension. There's another point for you. Zdeno Chara.
So that's a good problem to have.
What?
Chara signing.
Why is it a problem?
It's a problem because it still fosters that logjam on defense that we've had for a couple of years now.
Oh.
So
okay.
You look at it whether or not next year it takes a roster spot away from Uro Vakanainen or Jeremy Lozon. Depending on what happens this summer with Torrey Krug and maybe even Kevin Miller, where you're not going to be able to pay Krug next summer. So do you move him now or do you hang on to him? Or you look at the draft and you see guys like Zaboral, Clifton. I mean, Clifton could be an NHL regular at the end of the day, like a Kevin Miller. But you look at it, maybe at the draft you look into packaging someone like Zaboral, Clifton, Lozon, and bringing in maybe the winger you've needed.
I don't know.
Or a long-term solution at wing.
I see Zdeno Chara as a bit of a insurance policy. You say it keeps that logjam, but I feel like it makes you a little bit more flexible in terms of what you can do. Because now you're not afraid to move on from Torrey Krug, because you know that you have more guys that are going to be able to step in. You're not losing potentially Krug and also Chara and potentially even Miller. You have Chara there so that Krug, if he goes, you still have someone there. And also Chara's a very special player for this team just in terms of the leadership he brings, obviously the size. He can literally walk up to anyone he wants and fight them and, turn the game around right there and energize a team. There's just, he's still in peak physical condition, so I don't think you have to worry about, this 42-year-old guy is going to be around for another year. So, yes, it does prevent you from putting in a couple of your young guys, but I just think he's such a unique player and, such a leader on this team. I think that makes up his value in itself.
Okay. So,
sorry.
So, I agree with you with the leadership point on Chara. However, you're paying him top 6 money next year compared to top 4 money this year.
So, that's good.
That's perfectly fine for what you're paying him.
Yeah.
But we talked about how good he was last year. And he's been good this year, but he hasn't been quite as good as last year.
Serviceable.
He's been fine this year, no complaints.
Correct.
But I just wonder how much we lose next year. How much he goes back or digresses next year.
Okay. So if he's good right now on the first line, who's to say that if he were a little bit worse, he wouldn't still be good on the second line?
Okay, so who moves up to your top pair?
I don't know.
Matt Grzelcyk? Or ideally, it's Uro Vakanainen.
Oh, boy. Welcome to
Well, that's your ideal
pros.
top pair. That's your ideal top pair for the next 10 years.
Who says you need to start it right now, though? But, yeah, I get the point.
Well, you talk about moving Krug, and, I mean, business-wise, it makes perfect sense to move him now or this summer.
Yeah.
But you look at production and the power play, and who on this Bruins team can match Torrey Krug's offensive output.
You can't.
Because Uro Vakanainen, intelligent player, wonderful skater, great in the transition game. He just doesn't put up the points. And that's because of maybe a little bit of timidness on offensively. Maybe that'll come, but he'll never put up 40 to 50 to 60 points like Torrey Krug will. Mm-hmm. Charlie McAvoy may very well become a 40, 50-point guy.
Whoa.
Or I'll say a 40-point guy.
Yeah.
He's no way he's going to be putting up 50-plus like Torrey Krug, 40-plus assists. He has to shoot it more, start off.
Yeah.
Matt Grzelcyk, the similarities ended the height and the left shot.
Hmm. Well, I don't know. I think the what was I saying? It's like we know the future is coming here. Like, yes, you're gonna have to move on for Krug eventually. So, I mean, in that sense, you kind of like, okay, go ahead, do it now because you have guys that could slot in there. It feels like, but like you say, Krug is gonna be a tough player to replace immediately, at least. But in terms of, all right, do we really need Chara around because he is taking a spot away from the other guys? I think we can see like the future. All right, it's going to be Vakanainen and McAvoy for the next 10 years. But who says that has to start right now? Like, do you have to jump right into it now because you can see it's possible? Or can you say, all right, you know what? Let's enjoy these last couple of years or whatever that Chara's going to give you, and then you can go into your future plan.
Yeah, we can certainly enjoy them.
Sure.
That's why I said it's a good problem. It's like,
yeah,
it's just an issue though. It can become one.
Well, yeah.
But
and especially if guys start saying like, who's this guy? Like, why? He's so old. Like, get him out of here.
But in terms of moving on from Torrey Krug, we look at all these contenders and they all at least have some sort of offensively capable defenseman who maybe it's more offensive than the other. But we see Washington, John Carlson, Dmitry Orlov. Mm-hmm. Two guys, maybe more in the case of John Carlson, who it's not a good comparison to Krug because John Carlson's a perfectly fine defender, but he also still puts up the points.
Yeah.
We look at Tampa Bay, Hedman, consistent Norris candidate.
Yeah, well.
But
I mean,
he's in a league of his own.
You're comparing Krug to the best defenseman in the league.
Well, offensively, he's on par.
Huh.
And we look at Mikhail Sergachev, who's on his way. He's more than capable offensively right now. Toronto, Morgan Riley. And then we go into the Western Conference. We have San Jose with Erik Karlsson and Nashville with Ryan Ellis, Roman Josi, etc.
Yeah. Okay. So who says that McAvoy doesn't become that guy? He's not showing it right now, but if
well, he has for like the last month.
Okay, so let's say he sustains that. Then he's your offensive guy. He's your John Carlson.
Okay.
He's your Victor Hedman. Who knows?
No, he can be. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it feels like there's chances for you to be able to replace Krug there.
It's not going to be seamless.
True. Well, that's something to look into in the offseason for sure. But it is interesting to consider how the Chara move kind of impacts the rest of the lineup down the line. Mm-hmm. But anyway, looking ahead for the Bruins, you've got Tampa Bay here tonight. Actually, well, that's down in Florida, but you're taking them on tonight. And then you have the Rangers on Wednesday before Florida Saturday, and then Detroit on Sunday. Busy week for the Bees. What are your expectations?
Can you read that schedule for me again?
Tampa, New York, Florida, Detroit.
Tampa, New York, Florida, Detroit.
Correct. New York Rangers, that is.
Not worried about it.
Wow.
I mean, looking at the rest of the way here, you really only have 3 playoff teams.
And Tampa twice, just kind of mailing it in.
Tampa twice, Columbus.
Yep.
And Columbus isn't even on the fringe of contention, and Minnesota again is right on the bubble. So you're going to get a desperate Columbus and a desperate Minnesota team. I know we're jumping in a little ahead of ourselves here.
Mm-hmm.
But the other teams, I mean, New York might want to play spoiler. Florida maybe spoiler. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter for them at this point. And especially Detroit. Detroit is in the market for losing right now.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. If you're the Bruins, it just feels like you have to tread water at this point.
At this point, just rack up points and keep separating yourself from Toronto.
It feels like you've already separated enough, though.
Yeah, and you have plenty. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you have plenty of games. What is it? Toronto's at 94. We're at 101.
I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, Toronto has 94 points. We have 101 points.
Okay.
So welcome to TD Garden for games 1 and 2, Toronto.
Yes.
But you have an opportunity to rest guys here. You have the Rangers, Florida, Detroit, and then maybe even the last game of the season against Tampa, because that won't matter.
Right, that'll be the Providence Bruins against the Syracuse, whatever they are.
Syracuse Crunch.
Syracuse Crunch?
Yeah.
My gosh.
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, so you got to start resting guys here. You've built your cushion there between you and Tampa, Toronto. Tampa built a cushion in December. So yeah, that seems like your Bruins update there, but they are rolling those 4 wins in a row. Very encouraging, especially the score lines of which they have happened, at least in terms of these last 3. So you hope the Bruins can keep it up and ride that wave, hopefully, into the first round in just about 2 weeks. Pretty crazy how quickly that has come up. But a team that really needs the playoffs to begin as soon as possible and is on just about the exact opposite streak, actually, of the Bruins is your Boston Celtics. Feels like we've said that several times this year. The Celtics struggling, losers of their last 4, falling to the Denver Nuggets, and then the Philadelphia 76ers 118-115 before losing to Charlotte 2 nights ago, 124-117, and then San Antonio in the second night of the back-to-back just yesterday with a 115-96 loss in which LaMarcus Aldridge scored 48 points against you. The Celtics team is painful to watch.
It's maddening.
It is.
And it's just going to be hard because we're just going to end up saying the same things we've said all season.
Yeah. Well, we don't need to say it. This will be the shortest.
It's painful.
You don't have consistency. When Kyrie doesn't try, you don't win. How many points did Kyrie have last? Marcus Smart led your team in scoring last night.
How many points
14.
Did he have?
Let's see Kyrie's score here.
It's depressing. It really is.
Marcus Aldridge, 48 points. You couldn't even defend. Come on, box score. This is great radio, really. Kyrie Irving, 11 points.
That is sad.
That is sad. He had 6 through the first half, by the way. So, it's not pretty.
And we chalk that up to Kyrie not trying or just great defensive strategy by the Spurs?
I mean, Popovich is a special coach, but it's Kyrie just
They're
mailing
a good
in.
defensive team.
I don't know. That good?
I mean, maybe if they still had Kawhi, I would say.
Yeah. It just seems like the Celtics can't get out of their own way.
No, they can't.
There's not much else to say. And it feels like it's just all falling apart internally.
Yeah, unless you get hot down the stretch here, it looks like you're going to be visiting Indiana for the first round.
Whoop-de-doo, a team that lost their best player halfway through the year, and you're going to be visiting them. Wonderful. Here's another thing. Greg Monroe re-signed with the team for a 10-day contract and was the first guy in every meeting. That's depressing.
Or
he's trying to get back with the team and like, hey, guys. What do you mean?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
Coach's pet. I'm the new guy.
Yeah. I don't know. It just feels like this team has given up.
It's 4 in a row?
What? Yeah, they've lost?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said that.
I just missed it. I'm sorry.
Wow. Yeah, 4 in a row to teams that you should be above. Feels like we've said that 1,000 times. So, not good with the Celtics, and it could continue to get difficult here. Well, maybe not. They've got Cleveland tomorrow, and then they have a few days off to maybe figure some things out before taking on Indiana on Friday. And like you said, a potential first-round matchup before Saturday. They head to Brooklyn against the Nets. This is kind of like how it was with the Bruins last week, where we're like, there's not a ton going on. Just get to the playoffs.
I guess the silver lining is that their schedule isn't that hard.
So like maybe develop some confidence.
Just I guess rack up some wins at this point. Maybe get past Indiana.
I haven't even looked at the standings. How close are we?
They're 2 wins back of Indiana.
Okay.
It's not out of the picture to host them in the first round.
Right.
It's not out of the picture.
All right, so you could really use a win over them on Friday then.
Oh yeah, you play them twice. Those are going to be some big games.
That's right. Hopefully you can actually get up for those games and have some good performances.
Exactly.
Couldn't beat the 76ers, though, even when you tried your best. It's scary with the Celtics to picture what they could end up happening, or what could end up happening to them. But we do know with basketball that it can just turn in the postseason, and if guys start getting hot, things can completely change. And that's what you got to hope for with the Celtics team. There's no real secret about it at this point.
I'd say there's more chance of that happening in the NHL playoffs than the NBA. The NBA always seems scripted, or at least the last few years.
In terms of the best teams always win?
Yeah.
All right, so if the Celtics are truly the best team, then they'll win.
Okay.
They just need to show it.
Absolutely.
I don't know. There's not a ton else to say.
No, it's just beating a dead horse.
It is. Feeding a fed horse, Patrick.
Yes. Sorry, Peter.
Okay. So we can move on from them, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So your Boston Red Sox. Hey, how about some baseball, Patrick?
They play meaningful games this week.
They certainly do. They start their season in Seattle. That's the place. And I can't find when. That's just sad. I think it's on the 27th, right?
I believe so.
So Thursday, March 28th, opening day in Seattle. And then they'll have that 4-game set against Seattle before moving to Oakland for 4 games, and then Arizona for 3. And then they finally come home for their home opener and their ring ceremony on Tuesday, April 9th. So still 2 weeks until baseball at Fenway, but the season does start out in the on the West Coast later this week, so that's exciting. But the biggest news of the week was Chris Sale signed with the team for 5 years?
5 years, I believe.
Okay, 5-year contract worth a lot of money, of which I don't know the exact number to. Your immediate thoughts on the Sale extension?
I mean, good for them, because
$145 million
for 5 years.
Correct.
No opt-outs, correct?
Includes an opt-out after 3 years.
Okay. Player or team?
And a I think player. And it's a 6th-year option worth $20 million.
Okay. I don't hate it. It's just obviously the injury concerns, which, I mean, is going to happen with anybody these days.
No, you see the way that guy throws the ball now?
That's true.
Hello.
But
snap his elbow every throw.
I think he had to do it because you look at this year's starting pitching free agency class, and it really isn't anything to write home about. Yeah. There's certainly no aces available. So if you were to let Sale walk and then have to bring in like a number 3 or 2 Joe Schmo off the street,
yeah,
then your starting pitching isn't really as formidable as it is now.
Well, you have the best rotation in the league, so it's hard to sustain that. But yeah,
I think you needed the ace, and they kept the ace, and they wouldn't have been able to get the ace this year in free agency.
Makes sense. So that's good. It also uses up a lot of money that you could have put towards other guys who will need it.
Like Mookie Betts.
Like Mookie Betts, who also claimed that he is going to test the waters in free agency. He said, you know what, guys, I'll see you in, 2 years? I'm going to go into free agency.
Isn't it this year?
Is it this year? I forget what he said, but whatever. Regardless, whenever he becomes a free agent, the Red Sox are going to be as likely as, whoever else to sign him, which is a bit of a scary thought. He says he loves Boston, he loves the fans, he doesn't even mind the cold weather, but he wants to see how things go in free agency. And could this be because he saw the way the team has treated other potential free agents, i.e. David Price, John Lester, these guys?
Absolutely. David Price?
I think that was mentioned.
What did they do to David Price?
Maybe not.
All they did was sign him to a chunk of cash.
Was it something about when he opted in this? I don't know.
Oh, I don't remember.
Let's ignore that. John Lester. Hey, John Lester. How you completely blew the situation there and he signed in Chicago and continued to pitch at a very high level.
Yep.
Could that happen with Mookie Betts?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid of the luxury tax, which they shouldn't be.
That's right. All right, so there's your free agency update. You got Sale for 5 years, which is cool until his elbow explodes. You got Eovaldi. For what is it? How long is Eovaldi around?
Isn't it 2 years?
Whatever.
I honestly don't remember.
Till his elbow explodes. You could put yourself in a real pickle here with your pitching situation if these guys can't stay healthy for a long time. And Sale has had injuries every year as a Red Sox, but he's been lights out when he has been on the mound.
So Eovaldi's 4 years.
Wow. Okay, so you got Eovaldi for 4, Sale for 5. That's great. And then Price for 3?
Yep.
Sweet. What's Porcello? I don't know.
That's a great question.
But your rotation is looking great. Your relief pitching,
not good.
No, you still don't have a closer. Do we know who the opening day closer is going to be? Or is it closer?
Right now it's looking like Matt Barnes, I think, right?
Oh, God.
Also, Rick Porcello is off the books this year.
Oh.
He's upcoming free agent.
So maybe then you have Erod slide in as the third guy if he's ready. You can bring in, there was some guy in Pawtucket that they felt good about. I don't know. Those kind of bottom half starters aren't as important, which is good.
Until you chalk up every fifth day loss to Eduardo Rodriguez.
Huh. All right. So you know what? Let's look at this. Let's look at the season and kind of a season preview here because we've talked about the shortcomings of the team all throughout the offseason, relief pitching. But what do we actually expect from the Red Sox this season?
I don't expect the best team in baseball.
No.
I don't.
Better than the Yankees?
I'm waiting to see.
Okay.
Just because the Yankees have relief pitching.
Lukewarm take.
Well,
wait and see.
Well, because I don't want to give them, we have people saying repeat in another year of best team in baseball. I don't think it's going to happen because they don't have the relief pitching.
Yeah, you're not going to set the wins record again. That team was just a perfect storm of everything coming together at once.
And even last year, the relief pitching was pretty bad.
Yeah, but it came together in the postseason.
You
got everything right when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
So will this team set another record for wins?
No.
Even though the MLB seems like it gets more and more, different or more and more varied in terms of top of the league, bottom of the league, because teams are tanking. You can rack up wins against awful teams. Anyway, I don't know. I don't expect them to be as dominant as they were last year, but I feel like they'll still be right up there. Because that's just how the league is.
Yeah, they'll be up there. They'll be a top 5 team in baseball.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're top in their division, they'll definitely be top 2 in their division.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be probably playing for a wild card spot. Because, as of right now, I don't really want to say the Yankees are going to be that good. Or I do. I'm just putting myself in a corner here. I'm confusing myself.
Oh, gosh.
This is not our day, folks.
No. You're under the weather. That's okay.
No thought process whatsoever here.
You want me to?
But
okay.
I don't know. I'm just hesitant to give the Red Sox the top seed, the top of the division, the top crown.
I think the Yankees will come back hungry for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think as we said, the relief pitching is not up to snuff.
That's right. The Yankees signed, what's his name? Good starter. I forget.
Excellent question.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know. They signed a
I'm
really good
not
starter.
your guy for National Baseball News.
Clearly. But the Yankees have upgraded their pitching situation with another big name, of which I forget. Would you like to research that?
I will look at their roster
Thank you very
now.
much. Kowalski analysis. Anyway. Wow, paying a Madagascar reference on the Beantown Banter podcast. Who'd have thunk it? So, yeah, it seems like the Yankees have gotten better than you have here. At least they've made more improvements over the offseason. But does that bring them to your level? We shall see. I think if the Red Sox are able to kind of keep the formula going with that strong pitching at the top and and then getting or surviving your relief, I guess, then you should be okay. And it seems like your lineup is mostly intact. I think you're only missing Sandy Leon, who was placed on waivers. So I mean that's good, but you just have to hope that the team can hold on to what helped them succeed last year, because as we've said, it does feel like they're playing with fire a little bit in terms of the relief pitching situation, and you hope that doesn't bite them too often.
You're going to need to bank on your offense. And
Correct.
As far as the Yankees pitching goes, they still have Betances, Britton, and Chapman, and for this relief pitchers.
Correct.
And they brought in Adam Ottavino.
That's right. That's the big guy who the Red Sox were supposedly looking at.
Yeah.
Do we have the starters on the Yankees?
They still have Sabathia, Severino, Happ. I mean, you're clearly better in starting rotation than the Yankees.
There was another guy.
Tanaka.
No.
Paxton.
Yep, that's the one. That was the biggest starter on the market. James Paxton from Seattle.
True.
So they've got 2 top-level pitchers now in the bullpen and in the starters, and you've got diddly squat. So
Well, I think
we'll see how that goes.
You're on par, if not better, than their starting rotation.
Well, now...
When healthy, when everyone's healthy and firing on all cylinders.
Sure.
When everyone's pitching to what you expect them to be.
Okay.
But you're definitely not equal to them in the bullpen. Like Betances and Chapman alone.
That's right.
Kind of puts them above you.
I'll say. So, I mean, we'll see how that goes. And it should be a fun one for sure. Watching the Red Sox and Yankees battle it out all season, just like we did last year. That'll keep it entertaining at least through the 162 games. And yeah, we'll see the Red Sox season getting underway in Seattle, a team that has fallen apart a little bit. So that's kind of a good way to start your season with those first 4 games. And then of course they'll be back in Boston in 2 weeks, and we will set you up for that. But that runs us through the 4 major teams here, and we still a few minutes we can keep talking. So I don't know, Patrick, we got the New England Revolution we could go through quickly.
You can go nuts.
Yeah, I know you know nothing. I don't know. I just wanted to rant a little bit about this. I must admit, Patrick is exiting the building. He's gone. I'm kidding.
I'm still here.
He's still here. Just took the headset off because he knows that I'm just going to keep talking to myself. Oh, boy, the Revolution. And it's not even worth talking about that much, so we won't. But this team cannot win a game. They tied on the first game of the season and have done nothing since, with losses to the Columbus Crew, Toronto FC, and now Cincinnati FC, the brand new team who was apparently missing quite a bit of their expected starters, and you fell to them 2-0 at home yesterday. If you're a Revolution fan, I don't know how you're doing it, because this team is just struggling, and it seems like there's nowhere that they're going because they don't bring in any real influential players. I don't know. They've got this Carlos Heel guy who is supposed to do something, and he had 2 goals through the first 2 games, which was cool, but is he the real difference maker? I don't think so. And it just feels like maybe Brad Friedel isn't the right guy for the job, because you're in a bit of a rebuild process, and it doesn't seem like he knows how to do it. Woo! So there's your Revolution minute. I'll let you know when these guys win a game, but they're 12th in Major League Soccer, which I think is good for worst, at least in terms of the division. So they're struggling, and the most exciting news is that they have announced a kind of a friendly matchup with Chelsea FC for a bit of a charity game at Gillette Stadium to combat anti-Semitism. So that's cool, and good to get Chelsea into the stadium. Maybe draw some fans that way, because that's a big European team that draws a lot of headlines even in the States. So good to get a little bit of publicity that way. But the best way to get publicity, Patrick,
Just be good yourselves.
is to win games. There you go. Thank you very much. So hopefully they can start doing that. Anyway, there's your Rev stuff. And we also,
As far as Chelsea goes, big Eden Hazard guy.
Eden Hazard?
Yeah.
Eden.
Eden? It's not Eden?
No, it's Eden Hazard.
All right.
Oh, God. I like the effort. He won't
literally
play.
every broadcast I've seen has been a lie then, because they referred to him as Eden too.
No way. I refuse to believe that.
Okay. I'm just saying.
And is that in the British accent?
And at least I didn't say Hazard. I said Hazard. Whoa.
Whoa.
It was a tough day for the voice to begin with, and here we are. Well, at least I didn't say Hazard. I said Hazard.
I don't know. I mean, even when Chelsea come, it won't be any of the big names. So
That's true.
What does it matter?
Puts asses in seats.
I guess so. Ugh. Why? That's like when Zlatan Ibrahimovic came, and then he refused to play because he doesn't play on artificial turf.
Yep.
Which is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just please start winning games, Revolution. Anyway, here's something that you could talk about a little bit more. The NCAA Frozen Four tournament is coming up soon. Is it the Frozen Four, or is it just the NCAA hockey tournament
right now?
Whatever. It's the hockey tournament. Frozen Four will begin in early April. But we both have some following of the of college hockey, so that's interesting to talk about here as the tournament begins. We don't have to say anything too specific about it, but just what are your overall thoughts? What are your picks? What are you thinking?
My picks?
Sure.
I have UMass winning it all.
Why?
I think they're very good.
Cool. That's it?
Okay, so I think it's hard. Looking at the teams in the tournament, I think there's a lot of teams that are hard-pressed to be able to match the talent UMass has on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Headlined by Cale Makar.
There you go.
And in that, Matt Murray has had a very strong year.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was benched in the playoffs for Philip Lindbergh. Philip? His name is Lindbergh.
Or was it rest?
Oh, snap. That's interesting.
Because in college hockey, the backups never play.
That's a good point. Well, not always.
So if you're UMass, you're number one seed in Hockey East, you know you're making the tournament.
Ow. I just dropped.
Wow.
Sorry.
Go
ahead.
You're UMass, you know you're making the tournament, and Hockey East playoffs don't really matter that much to you.
Okay.
So
that's why you lost 3-0 to BC?
We're not going to mention that.
Okay.
But, I mean, I think they definitely can beat Harvard.
Oh, yeah.
They're definitely beating Harvard. And then either Notre Dame or Clarkson, I still think they're better than both of those teams.
Yep.
And say whoever they get out of, the East and the Midwest would be either
St. Cloud.
You have St. Cloud coming out of there?
Yeah. The number one team in the nation? Yeah, I have them coming out of there.
No. As in, that's from the West. I'm talking about who you. Okay. So you have St. Cloud beating UMass?
No, I have UMass beating St. Cloud in the semifinals.
I have Denver beating St. Cloud.
Whoa. Interesting. Okay.
Denver knows what it takes to win.
Okay. St. Cloud has 30 wins.
Okay. Denver has the postseason resume from the last few years.
Sure.
Denver knows what it takes.
All right. So let's look at the other side of the bracket here. I'll go first. I've got Northeastern going all the way. There you go.
I got Northeastern losing in the Frozen Four.
Semifinals?
Yes.
Okay. I have Northeastern winning it all because that's a red-hot team right now. Yes, it pains me to say that from BU. But that team is just as hot as it gets. They're getting it done on both ends. They're getting offensive production up and down the lines. What's it? Oh, my God. Jeremy Davies looks like Cale Makar.
Jeremy Davies is fantastic.
He is.
I'm a big Jeremy Davies guy.
He's logged so many minutes and just never stops. And he's, electric on both ends of the ice.
Skate circles around the ice.
Correct. And then Caden Primo is just lights out. Unless you're like an inch away from the crease, which is kind of a defensive thing. But it seems like the only goals that Primo gives up are when they're like right in front of him on a rebound or something.
Okay.
So I think they just have the perfect combination, and they're dominating right now. They've won the Beantown and they've won the Hockey East. I think to complete the triple now, they're ready for national championship.
But you look at Minnesota Duluth and Minnesota State. You think Northeastern will get past both of those?
It's tricky. I had Providence upsetting Minnesota State. Would you believe that?
I don't believe that.
Why not?
Because Minnesota State is a far superior team than Providence.
Of course, but Providence is also playing at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. I don't know who approved that, but Providence have somehow found their way into the East, which means they get to play literally right down the street. Meanwhile, Minnesota State traveling across the country. So Providence get to stay in their own beds. They get to play at their own facilities in the week leading up to it. And then, okay, let's take a little bus ride on over to the Dunk. Meanwhile, Minnesota State, complete new surroundings. New place that they've never been before. I think it all could be kind of, a bit of a flustering experience, and Providence could, catch them by surprise.
Ye of little faith.
Okay.
I don't think Providence is that good this year.
No, they're not. They're not.
No.
But
Minnesota State is a very good team.
Every dog has its day.
Okay.
Minnesota State is a good team, but I just feel like the odds are stacked against them in this one.
Okay, but you like Northeastern's chances against Minnesota Duluth?
Yep. Like I told you, Northeastern's just a wagon right now. They can't be stopped.
Okay, so I have Minnesota Duluth beating Northeastern, and then UMass beating Minnesota Duluth in the championship.
That. Interesting. So we both have Hockey East teams going all the way.
Yes.
Picking favorites, I think. But
I've been high on UMass since last year, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg Carvel, big Greg Carvel guy. That's their coach.
That's their coach?
Oh, my God.
No, I was making sure before I just threw out something dumb.
Oh, boy. Yes, he's their coach. He's definitely going to get scooped up by the NHL, but yes, he's their coach.
Yeah, so they were solid last year. They definitely didn't make any tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a good recruit class last year, headlined by Cale Makar.
Yes.
And they had an even better recruit class coming this year.
And they have a good one coming in next year.
Yeah.
Wagon. Dynasty alert. Who knows?
New Mass.
New Mass. It's true. Anyway, that's just about it for college hockey there. But yeah, for all you college hockey fans.
If we want to go through the BU signings.
Signings? Oh.
Oh.
Well, that's true. Okay, so here at BU, we're losing some big names. I just talked about this on the Lighting the Lamp podcast. Check that one out, too. I do a podcast every week with the Boston Hockey Blog, so that's kind of fun. Anyway, little plug alert, but yeah, BU losing his top goaltender, Jake Ottinger, top 2 D pair, Chad Chris, Dante Fabro, and leading scorer, Joel Farabee. Not good for BU. Nope, they better hope that they've got some good recruits coming in, and some of these guys can keep developing, because it is going to be a tricky year next year if you don't have those guys and you don't replace them. A little worried about the future of the team, I must say.
I would be worried.
Okay.
You
Well,
think your man Vinny Papera can take
Nope.
over?
Well, I liked what I saw from him, and when he played, the team left him out to dry. So maybe he'll impress us. Maybe he'll surprise some people. He's a freshman. He's got time to develop. Who knows?
Okay.
He's a 21-year-old freshman, but it's his first year of 4. That's the key in college hockey. You know what? Actually, as we're going through college here, and as we've got some time, how about the basketball tournament going on?
I haven't kept up with it.
No?
No.
Really? Wow. You disgust me. No. It's been a very uneventful tournament, I must admit. You've had some upsets, but then they all kind of fell apart the second game.
I picked more upsets than I usually do in my bracket, and so far, almost none of them have happened.
All right. Well, all the 1 seeds are still alive. I believe all the 2 seeds are still alive. You still have 3 of the 4 seeds. I think, what is it? The most interesting team still in it is number 12, Oregon, who lost their best player, Bol, halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, whoop-de-doo, that's your one team that's still oh, wow, look at them. Otherwise, you have all top 4 teams, and then Auburn, who's a 5. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, that's kind of scripted so far.
Oh, scripted? Whoa there. Was that an intentional cough or not?
Oh, no, that was not intentional.
You say scripted, and then you coughed, and I was like, what? So, yeah, you hope that the tournament heats up a little bit here next weekend. Duke almost got knocked off, which would have been crazy. But no, the basketball gods came through, and they survived. So, we'll see.
We will see.
That seems like the theme. And anything else to add, really?
Nothing.
Actually, I had one thing with the Red Sox, so we're kind of circling back here.
Everything goes full circle.
Okay. We're not looking at life truths again in this episode, please. So the Red Sox, I wanted to ask you, who is one guy that you expect will have kind of a breakout season this year?
For the Red Sox?
Yep. You won't surprise him to do well, or you won't expect him to do well, but he'll surprise you.
Jackie Bradley Jr. Offensively.
Ew. Why? What makes you think now he'll actually be able to do
The
something?
new swing.
What's the new swing?
Is it just a new swing?
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
That's what he said. What do
That's
you say?
they'll say. Blake Swihart.
Okay,
Sandy
I can see
Leone
that.
out the door. I miss Sandy Leone already. Loved that guy. Really
Okay.
good walk-up songs, too. But regardless, Christian Vasquez, yes, he's a strong defensive catcher, but not so great offensively. He was down the stretch, though. Blake Swihart, a little bit more of an offensive guy. He can get it done in a lot of positions, but being back in his more comfortable position of catcher should do him a lot of good. I think he'll be more comfortable. I think he'll get more, more time in the games. So, I think if he can make the most of his opportunity, there certainly is a chance there for him to impress. And, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Anyway, I had forgotten to ask that earlier. But, this is a fun thing to look back on, in September when it's like, Jackie Bradley Jr., 400 batting average. He's the
20 home runs.
first guy since Ted Williams. Who knows? 20 home runs for Jackie Bradley Jr., really?
I'll give him 15.
Oh, my God. We'll see. Well, that's really it. It's been kind of a smorgasbord here, at least in this second half of the episode. But we've got some, we had a good blend of big news with the Gronk situation and the, the Red Sox season starting. We've been still kind of waiting things out with the Bruins and the Celtics. Revolution are still just bad at soccer. And then, of course, taking looks around the NCAA tournaments. Just updating you on all the things as we still kind of patiently wait for the postseason to begin for basketball and hockey. But Patrick has soldiered his way through this on a day where he's under the weather, and he looks like he's ready for a nap.
We'll have to go to class.
Oh, that's right. Oh, well, all right, so we'll end it there. As always, everyone, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you again next week.